So now let's talk about the loop recorder. So this section right here, these 4 buttons, those affect your loop recorder. First of all, let's start with the restart button. When you press on it, notice how the loop size on the loop recorder changes. It'll cycle from 4, 8, 16, 32, and go back to 4. Let's say we want a 4-bit loop. We'll just time it right. Press and hold the rec button, and it will record a 4-step loop. As there it goes. 2, 3, 4. Okay. Right there. You can stop it by pressing play. You can start it again. If you want to delete it, just press the erase button and it's gone. When I press play, nothing happens. You will use this loop recorder later on to sample tracks and to copy those small samples onto your remix decks. Now let's go over some layout buttons. And by that, so what we mean by layout buttons, we're talking about the buttons right here, which change the layout of Traktor. You already know about browser mode, which is one of the modes. You have a mixer layout. And when you have the mixer layout, you will see your effects units on top. Right now I only have 2 of them. This could be 2 or 4. The one below says sampling. And that will display your loop recorder and audio recorder on top. And the arranger, this basically will cycle through all of your different layouts that you have saved. Now, this is something that we use. However, you don't have to use it, and will only work if you have the same layouts that we have on this mapping. The moment you start renaming or changing your layout, for example, if you look at the top of the screen on Traktor, on the pull-down menu, I have a preparation, browser, mixer effects, sampling, and parallel layouts. Well, if you rename them or shuffle them, these buttons will stop working. But don't worry, we will show you on a tutorial on how to change it if you want to do that, or if you don't care, just don't use them or turn off the buttons using Control Editor. Another thing you might want to know is this plugin button. This displays full screen on Traktor. And we highly recommend that you use it, because if you're not on full screen, you may not be able to see your effects units, pattern players, audio recorders, or some more details on your screen. Just a tip, sometimes, depending on how you have Traktor set up, you may not be able to see the effects units on top, or you may want to turn off this tab, the advanced tab on track decks. Like right there, I'm highlighting, I'm on deck A, and that tab right there is showing some cue and loop jump and grid information. You can just close it and it will give you more real estate. Like right there, you cannot see what's going on with the effects units, but the moment you close that tab, it will display them. And there's also a button on our mapping that can turn the advanced tab button. We have added on this latest version of our mapping a button that will turn on and off the advanced panel. And that is, I'll show you right now where it is located at. This button right here on page 19 turns on the advanced tab. Turn it off, on. Now we have a couple of miscellaneous buttons that we didn't mention and that you might want to use. So if you want to tap the tempo, you can do that by pressing and holding shift and then just tap into the beat that you want to match. And this shift is added as a safety so you don't accidentally. So we mentioned knob pages earlier. And we said that those are the screens. So right now, we're going to cover each one of those into detail and provide you with some demonstration. So when you first turn on your Maschine and load up our mapping, you might land on a random page, and that is just based on whichever page you used last. But let's just start in order. Right there, we are on now page number 1. In this page, so the first pages are basically mixers, and there are some redundancies, and there's a reason for that. People may have different needs or different tastes, different workflows, so we provided different options that you can select. If there's something that you will not need at all, just delete them. So the first knob page is a mixer that controls all 4 decks from within the same screen. This will control the volume for deck A, and these are on soft takeover mode, meaning you have to match the position of the knob with the position of your display on Traktor. So right now this is all the way to the bottom. Let's bring it up, make it catch up, and then down. And you only have to do this initially. Once you get started, you don't have to do this again. Okay, so you have controls for all that. Now on the second screen right here on the right, you adjust the filters, or actually your mixer effects. I had to catch up there. There. I'm gonna leave this on different positions because I will demonstrate something later. So there's a secondary function on each one of those knobs. Okay, first of all, like on deck A, this is your volume. If you press and hold shift, this will adjust the gain buttons. This will adjust the gain. So if you want to listen to the tracks through your headphones, if you don't have a monitor button on your controller, you can simply use these buttons right here to do that. You press and hold shift, these buttons will turn off the gain functionality of it. Now on the right side, we talk about this being your mixer effects levels. Well, you press and hold shift and turn the knob, you can select different mixer effects individually. So right there, we're only affecting deck A. Now let's change the one on deck B. Let's say you want a filter. On deck C, let's go for a reverb. And on deck C, let's go for that flanger. You can turn on and off the mixer effects. And notice how it says reset on the right side of the button. So press and hold shift and it will reset the mixer effects knobs right there. They will remain on, but they will be reset. So let's demonstrate the mixer effects. Let's turn on the mixer effects right there. That is a filter. You know what? Let's change the filter to something else. Also the long knob. Let's change it on deck B. Let's do that delay. Let's increase the dry wet level. You hear that? You can turn it off. Now let's change it to something else. Flanger. You can press and hold shift and press the reset button. And that's how that works. And it's the same for all the decks. Okay, so the next set of knob pages is another mixer layout, and this is a little different. So these knob pages control decks A and B, and this layout, you will have volume control at the left, which corresponds with your mixer there at the bottom, followed by the EQ controls for low, mid, and high. Again, this adjusts the volume. This is your low, mid, and high. You also have kill buttons right there on top. The button right there that says deck A, this is another way for you to select that deck. Instead of using the 4D encoder, you can just simply press this and it will select that deck. So let's go to deck B right there and press play to show you what's going on. First of all, let's adjust the volume. Let's adjust the low. You can do that. Or you can press the low kill button. Let's kill the mid. So now we're only left with the highs. And that's just how the CQs work. Next page, exact same thing, but only applies to deck C and D. So the next set of knob pages shows a slightly different layout. And on this layout, you have deck A on the left, deck B on the right. And it's very similar to the last one, meaning that we have the EQ controls right here on these three knobs. But instead of having volume control on the left, now this is your mixer effect level. You gotta turn it on first. You can turn it off. Or you can press and hold shift and reset it. You can do a high kill. Okay, another neat feature on these knobs that we didn't have on the previous layout is that you can reset the EQs by pressing and holding shift following set of knob pages. Same thing for decks C and D. Okay, so this is a new one for our latest version of the mapping. And this adds the Xone mixer layout. On the EQs, you have 4 knobs. You have your high, mid-low, and low. And it works exactly the same on decks B, C, and D.